Recently, Ubisoft got hacked, which is honestly not a big deal considering Ubisoft needs to learn to not own the things that they own. Needless to say, this was absolutely humiliating, which makes it only more impressive considering Ubisoft pretty much lives in a non-stop humiliation ritual at this point. So here we are, and these people are back to finish the job. Absolutely, absolute peak karma.
So, about a week ago, I covered a situation involving Ubisoft and a massive cyber attack that they suffered. This video titled Hackers Breach Ubisoft
Suffered.
reportedly steal terabytes of source code and wreck Rainbow Six Siege covered all of that. Now, at the time, while certain aspects of that hack we need to be definitive, there were other parts of the story where details were a little murky. So when it comes to the Rainbow Six Siege stuff, all of that turned out to be true. But when it comes to the other parts of the story, like how Ubisoft was allegedly hacked so thoroughly that terabytes worth of source code was leaked, or tons of game data and user data and whatnot made their way to hackers, that's an area where information is a bit murky. So in this video,
Well, who's saying that they didn't lose this information? Is it Ubisoft? Because I got news for you. Every company always says, "Oh, we didn't actually get hacked. Yes, something got like magically stolen, but don't worry about it. Nothing else got stolen." And before all your information is on the internet for free.
we're going to highlight what information from this cyber attack is true and what information is false and what information has been clarified. So when it comes to Rainbow Six Siege, it is indeed true that we saw tons of people get banned and unbanned. It is true that we saw hackers take over the ban feed to the point where we started getting spam messages like these, where if you read the first word of these messages, you actually get full sentences and full messages. And then beyond that, we saw players receive tons of premium currency, as well as skins and even like developer skins that were not meant for the public. And so over the course of the
Yeah, because I mean, this was such a tragedy to be a player of that game, because you got free stuff for free. Now, granted, Rainbow Six Siege literally is pretty much a walking pride parade at this point if you know anything about it. But still free stuff.
last few days, we've seen the official Rainbow Six Siege Twitter page issue various updates to highlight how they're dealing with this situation. And over the course of time, they did manage to resolve the issue by essentially securing servers. And then beyond that, they did manage to revert the game back to a state that the game was in prior to the hack. So for example, right here, we have a December 28th update that reads, a rollback is currently ongoing, and afterwards, extensive quality control tests will be executed to ensure the integrity of accounts and effectiveness of changes. They did eventually manage to get the game back up and running, but the marketplace remained closed due to how compromised that aspect of things was by the hackers, with a final update coming in on December 29th, 2025, where they said that we have been closely monitoring since bringing Siege back online and are aware that some players are experiencing long queue times, queue resets, and synchronization errors. The issues regarding queue have now been resolved. We appreciate your patience as we work hard to investigate the cause of these known issues and ensure the whole community can get back to playing Siege. So yeah, Siege was completely brought to its knees by the hack that compromised many aspects of the game, and the most important aspect for Ubisoft, which is the marketplace and the monetization and the storefront. They did have backup measures in place to ensure that they could kind of roll everything back and make the game kind of the way it was before the hack happened. So all of that seems to have ultimately been resolved, with them still continuing maintenance and still, plugging some holes in their security. But then there's reports about how the Rainbow Six Siege hack was actually a distraction to steal the source code for almost every Ubisoft game ever made, and that's where reports surrounding this hack start to get a little murky. Here's another report saying that hackers exfiltrated terabytes of internal source code repositories covering nearly all games, tools, SDKs, and services from the 1990s to current projects, with claims stating that a MongoDB exploit, MongoDB being this cloud database service, had a vulnerability that was exploited in order for hackers to be able to gain access to what they did. For those who are interested in this MongoDB vulnerability, being dubbed MongoBleed, here is text that highlights details surrounding that. But yeah, basically, people discovered that MongoDB had certain vulnerabilities that paved the road for hackers to be able to essentially break through And the claim suggested that
So a lot of people are currently pretty mad considering someone used this to hack Ubisoft and then it ruined it for everyone else. Okay, interesting.
this vulnerability might have been a big part of how a lot of Ubisoft data and source code and whatnot was extracted. But now we're starting to learn that some of the hack groups that made certain claims about what they breached within Ubisoft and what they managed to extract may have been lies. So the initial research indicated that there were 4 hacking groups that were involved in this massive cyber attack against Ubisoft, with the first group being responsible for bringing Rainbow Six Siege to its knees, distributing roughly, $339,960 billion worth of in-game currency to players and, taking full control of the ban feed and then being able to ban and unban players willy-nilly. That part of the hack is true, but then the rest of these is where things were called into question. The second group claimed that they managed to extract tons of data from the 90s to the present as far as like Ubisoft software development kits, multiplayer services, source code, etc. is concerned. A third group claimed that they compromised Ubisoft enough where they exfiltrated tons of user data by exploiting MongoDB via MongoBleed. And then a fourth group claimed that the second group was actually lying about all of their endeavors. And so the fact that certain hack groups were claiming that other hack groups were lying about their hack jobs against Ubisoft, their cyber attacks against Ubisoft.
What's the point of being a hacker, honestly, nowadays, especially in a group? I don't really understand this. Because as far as I know, every group of hackers just, maybe they exist for a year or two, but then they all get just arrested. And, well, if you don't get arrested, congratulations, your other buddies got arrested, and probably that's going to lead to you very quick.
Suggested that there's more to the story than meets the eye. And then, not long after all of this started to take place, on December 28th, 2025, news outlet Insider Gaming released the following report, whose headline reads, "Ubisoft hack is reportedly blown way out of proportion, say sources." Initially, there were claims suggesting that this massive breach resulted in 900 gigabytes of data being compromised. Allegedly, the data included source code, internal tools, and development materials of Ubisoft's upcoming...
Wait, 900 gigabytes of data is not a lot, actually. That even I can tell you.
...in previous games. And right here, Insider Gaming reports that it seems these claims were in fact untrue. The group with such claims haven't been able to provide any evidence of the alleged breach. And not to mention, sources within Ubisoft who spoke with Insider Gaming stated that the company's security team have been made aware of some breaches earlier this year following leaks surrounding projects such as Scout and the since canceled Far Cry game codenamed Talisker. And then scrolling further down, Insider Gaming reports that another group that claimed to have breached user information has since backtracked, saying that it was false, likely referring to Group 3 in this report right here, individuals who claimed that they compromised Ubisoft and exfiltrated user data by exploiting MongoDB via MongoBleed. So this third group essentially took advantage of the chaos to full-on lie and basically garner some clout from this whole situation. Insider Gaming continues with, according to sources familiar with some of the groups who alleged such breaches...
Okay, listen, I'm not gonna lie, boys. If I have to choose who I'm gonna randomly believe without knowing anything about anything, it's probably not Ubisoft. Yeah, it's probably definitely not Ubisoft. 100% not Ubisoft, in fact. So, yeah, again, all of these companies are going to say nothing was stolen and all of these things. This is not the end, obviously, of this, because if nothing got hacked, breached, stolen, or whatever, this would not have been a story to begin with, honestly. But, I mean, here we are.
They say that the hacks were blown way out of proportion and some individuals just wanted clout from the hack that made headlines. The end result of all of this is that VX Underground, a Twitter user who's been in contact with sources and who has been up to date about this whole situation, updated everyone with what we recently learned. And as it turns out, we now have not 4, but 5 hacking groups involved with this whole situation, many of them just straight up lying. But all of the reports surrounding Group 1 are still true. They are still responsible for the Rainbow Six Siege incident. They did give away $339 trillion worth of in-game currency and cause chaos. They're now sort of laying low, reads this report. That report has not changed one bit. Everything surrounding the Rainbow Six Siege hack is entirely true. But then we get to claims of, user data being exfiltrated and, source code.
Group 5? That's new.
And terabytes of data within Ubisoft servers getting leaked and getting stolen. That's where claims seem to be entirely untrue. So, for example, Group 2 claimed to have Ubisoft source code. They claimed it was from MongoBleed, but apparently this has been proven to be a lie. They do have internal things from Ubisoft. They lied how they achieved it. Basically, the 5th hacking group just straight up entered to try to explain this whole situation.
Okay, how many hacking groups do we have to... Can I be the 6th hacking group? I mean, seems you don't need any credentials nowadays to yap about things. The irony of me saying that.
To try to air out some of the confusion with this report reading that Group 5 appeared today and presented a comprehensive breakdown on the Ubisoft Rainbow Six Siege and other conflicts. Group 5 illustrated step-by-step how all actions were performed. Group 5 unveiled exactly how Group 2 managed to get access to Ubisoft internals with photographic evidence. Group 5 also provided code demonstrating how Group 1 did many things as well as other things not reported. Group 5 has a big swing dick and isn't fucking around. Group 5 is pretty hardcore, not even memeing. They're very intelligent and calculated in what they say and do. Group 5 probably make and sell cheats for Ubisoft games and are very talented reverse engineers. And then on top of that, Group 4 is also claiming that Group 2 is straight up lying. Group 4 says Group 2 is trying to bamboozle Group 1. Group 3 has also been caught lying, not being able to provide evidence that they did in fact compromise user data, with this report saying that they've been lying on Telegram to have compromised Ubisoft.
So, as always, the situation is very clear, at least for me. Everyone's, as always, lying about absolutely everything, and you cannot trust anything. Like, Group 5, who did they provide evidence to, okay? Oh, by the way, I am Group 3 and 5, don't tell anyone. Yes, it was me, officially me, 100% me. What evidence do I have of that? Your mom's house. That's right! That's right, read the Barron's chat now, it is what it is. What a time to be alive, boys. So, all of this is gobbledygook, and Ubisoft is still garbage, effectively, at the end of the day. 100% Ubisoft lost something, by the way, here. And again, they will never admit it, and the thing is, these groups try to do the ransom thing, and Ubisoft, if they accept it, well, that group is not gonna release the stuff, because, why would anyone else ever pay you a ransom in case someone actually paid the ransom and then you release it anyway? Makes sense? And Ubisoft would obviously be able to deny that anything happened at all. And, I mean, do you trust Ubisoft? I do not, obviously. They are a horrible company.
Ubisoft, they're using fake data to try to intimidate Ubisoft and Ubisoft customers to pay them money. They're all lying. So basically, they're trying to claim that they leaked user data to try to extort both Ubisoft and people who engage with Ubisoft services under false pretenses. Now, it seems as though Group 2 did manage to extract some internal things from Ubisoft, but their claims about how they utilized MongoBleed to extract, like terabytes worth of...
By the way, if they're lying about the way that they did the thing and they actually did it through another thing, that's actually smart and makes me believe that they stole things because, dude, listen, if you're a hacker and suddenly it comes out that the company you're hacking got hacked, you're probably not saying, yes, it was us. We did it through this thing that now we're just going to tell you about. Yeah, the fact that they're lying about how they did it gives them actual credentials, in my opinion. Because, again, you don't want to just tell them how you did it so that they fix it.
Data and source code and all these things. That aspect seems to be being called into question from what I understand. Here we have a second reporter who kind of broke down this whole situation and highlighted how Group 1, the ones responsible for the Rainbow Six Siege hacking incident, that's all entirely true. Apparently, Groups 2 to 4 are mostly lying about obtaining Ubisoft source code and using fake data to try and intimidate Ubisoft and its customers. Again, trying to extort under false pretenses, trying to take advantage of the chaos.
I mean, yeah, that sounds like something Ubisoft would say themselves.
To try to make false claims to scare people and companies into basically giving them money under the false pretense that they have data, compromising data that they could leak. And then there's Group 5 proving how the Rainbow Six Siege and other attacks were performed and might provide a public breakdown later on. But yeah, the bottom line is that when it comes to claims of user and customer data getting breached and leaked and exfiltrated, all of that is not true. Ubisoft said as much. They affirmed as much in some of their recent posts. And this report confirms it by saying Ubisoft user and customer data was not compromised during the attacks, according to the recent news. And while some data might have leaked within Ubisoft, the extent of the data leaked seems to be not as substantive as hackers claim. As it reads right here, the theft of 900 gigabytes of data was also fake. It actually referred to a different hack from years ago. So Group 2 might have not exfiltrated any data at all. They might just be using old data that they exfiltrated to make it look like this was recently stolen data to try to cause confusion and chaos, amidst which, they can take advantage in order to be able to gain some leverage that might allow them to pull some moves. And I mean,
what kind of magical leverage are we talking about? This is just stupid. What kind of magic? I'm sorry, what kind of magic? Again, let's think about this logically for a second, okay? So, Ubisoft stuff got stolen previously, and now this hacker group is pretending that the stuff that was stolen previously is new stuff, so they're gonna provide... so they're gonna try and leverage Ubisoft by giving them a taste of the stuff that they stole 5 years ago? Like, that's not gonna work. Like, the moment you start thinking about this explanation just sounds super, super stupid. Like, what the hell is... It's not even close to working like that, Young. What are you saying?
For a time, they were successful. All of the hacker groups that were lying and taking advantage of the chaos did manage to do so for a time, but at the end of it all, the truth did come out that the only real major impact that Ubisoft suffered from this hacking incident was Rainbow Six Siege getting temporarily taken down, tons of currency getting distributed, players garnering access to skins that they were not supposed to, so on and so forth, all of which eventually did get rolled back after days of maintenance during the holidays. But as far as claims of Ubisoft having breached the point where tons of source code was exfiltrated and tons of user data was exfiltrated, a lot of that stuff...
Well, to be absolutely, to be absolutely real at this point, who the hell would actually care about Ubisoft source code? Do you want the glorious designs and AI slop from Assassin's Creed Shadows? Yeah, probably not. Probably not at all. You want to avoid that. So, someone's probably going to pay the hackers not to release the source code publicly because that would just damage the world in general.
To be woefully exaggerated. So for those who were worried about the Ubisoft hack potentially impacting them, for now, it seems as though we can rest easy. At the same time, though, the fact that these kinds of hacks can happen to this level...
Rest easy about what? I literally have nothing on Ubisoft. I have never played a Ubisoft game in my life.
Is still disconcerting because there might come a time, there might come a situation when a cyber attack and a cyber heist might actually yield really good results for hackers where they are able to exfiltrate really compromising data. So, a lot of these companies need to take safeguarding not only their own data, but the data of users a lot more seriously, given how capable a lot of these hackers are and how much potential damage could be done if, we see a more successful cyber heist against Ubisoft and similar game companies. But for now, this is everything you need to know. Since I covered this topic, I thought it was worth updating you guys.
As always, someone, my editor, which is me myself, sadly, put the Bojack meme of the nothing ever happens. Well, maybe something didn't happen, but if something did happen, we would never know that something happened. It's just a way of life. Anyway, that was a Yongi. Yay. Oh, bye-bye.